All right. All right. Hello. Thank you guys for joining the session today. The session today is Memorial Hospital and Atlassian Jira, how efficiencies built into Jira support tracking drive best practices and strategic work. So I'm Gary Dranikowski, and I'll be joined today in this session by Randy Johnson. We're from SpearMC Consulting, and this is a interesting topic that you never know. How do you present something like this? So as we walk through this, we'll talk a little bit about some of the practices we do from a managed services perspective, not only related to Jira and Atlassian, but things that we do to minimize the need for support, as well as augment the overall support. But we talk how we're using the software, gathering information, etc. So before we get too far into it, though, again, like I said, I'm Gary Dranikowski. That is my contact information, so feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I've been doing PeopleSoft now for 20 plus years off and on. I really focused for quite a few years in reporting and analytics, a little bit more on the Oracle BI side, but always still reaching back into PeopleSoft, getting data out of there from a reporting perspective. So always been involved with that. Then obviously managed services, supporting customers. Randy, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Randy Johnson, Vice President over at SpearMC in Chicago. And so happy to be doing these again. Thankful for you to join us. That is my contact information. It's real. The phone number is real. Like Gary said, we are an open book for you to reach out and talk to us. That picture was taken on one of my first days at SpearMC. So that's how long I've been here. But I've been doing PeopleSoft well before that. So I looked a whole lot younger than that, even when I started my PeopleSoft career almost 25 years ago. So super happy to be here talking. And I will be monitoring the chat windows. Gary probably will be doing the majority of the talking. And so go ahead and throw your questions out in the chat. I'll try to, as real time as I can, get them asked, and then Gary and I can take turns answering them. So go ahead and use that chat window to communicate.
All right, thanks, Randy. So before we kind of get into the details, I just wanted to quickly touch on who we are, and you've probably seen us throughout the week of the conference here. I think my next slide will actually show all the sessions that we've done. And the last time I pulled it up, I'm like, oh man, we really do have a lot of sessions. So anyway, we're from SpearMC. We are an Oracle partner specializing in everything PeopleSoft, right? So whether that's implementation, upgrade, training, OCI, testing, managed services. We've been recognized by Gartner in that space. So again, everything really analytics, reporting, but everything PeopleSoft. So definitely, if you have any needs in that space, feel free to reach out. Again, we have quite a few sessions. Obviously, we are at the end of day 2, but that's not to say you can't go back and review some of these sessions that we've all spent a lot of time preparing for, as well as then delivering and making sure that we're providing content that is relevant to everybody at the conference. Highlighting after Randy and I speak today, we want more of those two guys. So I did a session on Kibana earlier today. Randy did a session on lease management, as well as expenses yesterday. So yeah, there's a lot of content. You can search by our names and find additional. So thank you. All right, so today, this topic, best practices for PeopleSoft support. I should have updated that. Well, I said the healthcare setting, but really that I use the healthcare customer in this example, but it doesn't have to be specific to healthcare. A lot of the samples that we'll talk about tend to be, but that doesn't mean all of our customers are. As you can see there, we've got Citadel, State of North Dakota, Temple University in there as well. So that's towards the bottom. But at the end of the day, what we want to do is talk about how we recommend supporting PeopleSoft, right? This aligned philosophy, simplifying your architecture, leveraging technology, and we'll try to, bring in these examples of things that we've been doing at our clients over the past, 5 years or so when it really comes to managed services, support, etc. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is philosophy, right? So as many customers are going out looking for managed services partners, maybe, for various reasons, right? One, it's just become easier to outsource some of the PeopleSoft work. Maybe there are specific things that you need within your support team that you either don't have in-house, people are retiring, maybe you've brought on a new module that you don't have somebody that knows that. It may be easier just to fill that by putting that out to a managed service. So as you're looking for a partner, you want to find somebody with industry experience, product experience, and a vision, I'd say, that aligns with your organizational goals. So as you look at all these different ways that we are addressing the needs of our customers, one of the key things is, this team, we are embedded with and I say we, I mean, it's not just, I'm saying this is how we do it. So, but we are, embedded with the Oracle team, the product team, the leadership there. So we are getting information from them. We're able to share that with our customers. We have channels directly into them. So you want to look for somebody that really has that product expertise. Obviously, the industry expertise speaks for itself. Like I said, we've highlighted a lot of healthcare customers, but we are across really all industries. So we're not focused on just one, although we do have, some special, probably some additional knowledge in certain areas. But, from that perspective, I guess I a little bit conflict myself in that statement, but it's really meant to say, as a group, as a whole, we do have experience across really all the pillars, industries. Again, the aligning customers' application maintenance roadmap to best leverage delivered product capabilities. Again, we will work with you to understand, how do you want to use this system, today? How do you want to use it in the future? What's your roadmap, right? What makes sense for you as an organization to get really the best return on investment in your system, right? Does it make sense to, the question comes up, what are you doing, as far as cloud? Is that somewhere you want to go, right? I mean, even if that's the case, and that's a 3-year, 5-year project, however long it is to get there, that doesn't mean that, if you have the right partner, they can help you drive the PeopleSoft's boat while you move on to focusing on other efforts. So that's another way that you can leverage an organization from a managed services perspective. And then increase efficiency, lifecycle automation. That really touches on things like, how are you staying current? What are you doing from a testing perspective? Is your team bogged down primarily with, spending a lot of time doing testing? Are there ways to supplement that? So we'll talk a little bit about that throughout as well. But those are, really the philosophy behind a lot of the stuff that we will be covering. So we use Memorial Hospital as a case study here throughout this entire presentation, and a little bit of history for us at Memorial. We started there, quite a few years ago, and they were looking for a new partner to really help them get through their upgrade, as well as taking over support for them. So from our perspective, it was a really nice fit, because we came in right as they did the upgrade, and they're a regional hospital in southern Mississippi. Randy, I don't know if you want to add any, I guess, well, we were people, maybe, I can't remember. I start to get certain customers confused with the numbers there.
Yeah, no, I think they're the largest in southern Mississippi for sure, and they are partially funded by the county. Yeah. They have several different medical office buildings across the southern part of Mississippi, and one main hospital there in Gulfport. Right. Been running PeopleSoft now for about 10 years. It was actually a part of their EMR when they deployed Cerner. They also rolled out PeopleSoft along with that, hosted by Cerner. So part of the upgrade is to continue through that and then ultimately move them if the need arises onto a different platform, possibly Oracle cloud infrastructure. So great customer.
Yeah, very good. Thanks. Yeah, actually, now I think they're like 3,000 to 4,000 employees, but
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so what have we been doing there? Different ways. How do we simplify and reduce complexity, right? So one way to do that is through intuitive design. Another way is providing self-help documentation along the way, and then leveraging emerging technologies. So from a design principle, right, you want to minimize complexity, special requirements. I really understand, ask the questions as we're going through these upgrades. Well, why was this code customized in the first place? Is this still needed? Randy and I were on a call earlier today. We were laughing because he's like, well, you have all these customizations you're reviewing. If you don't know, is the person that asked for that even here anymore? Right. So it could have been specific to one person and no one even uses that anymore. But it's continued to be retrofitted and put in there, prior. So, ask questions as you're going through. Next, one of the things you do, leverage page and field configurator. Right? That's a way to eliminate customizations and allow changes to happen in the system that don't, get affected during an upgrade, like a custom object. And then one of the other things is, bringing offline forms and processes into PeopleSoft as well. So look for opportunities there where, again, you can, reduce, streamline your entire process. So from page and field configure, page and I can't even say it right, and obviously can't type it either. Page and so on that, Randy, do you want to take over page and field?
Yeah, sure, Gary. Yeah. I mean, if you haven't heard about this, so this is one of the main drivers we see in decustomizing when we help our customers to declutter their PeopleSoft environments. And so often there are customizations out there to make a field required when it's not delivered as such, or to hide a field perhaps, or even to relabel a field on a page. And before page and field configurator existed, the simplest change, like changing the label of a field, was still a customization. It had to be evaluated and reapplied each time you did an upgrade, or now if you're on 9.2, each time you did a patch and an image update. And so what page and field configurator does is it gives you a tool to say, look, on this page, I want to be dynamic in how the page appears. So if I pick a system source of some type, that's my criteria, I want the activity owner label to change. And so this is what the page would look like before. And then after typing, what did I think is PPC, our label dynamically changes. And that is now something that is not a customization. Okay, the dynamic changing, and it's more than labels. I can gray it out so that it becomes view only but not editable. I can make it required. I can hide it completely. I can do that whether there's criteria up front or not. And this is there's a large number of customers that have customizations like this that we can get rid of through the page and field configurator functionality. So a perfect opportunity for you to make that move is if you have not yet gone from classic to fluid. Don't take the bait and reapply every customization to your fluid page. Take the opportunity to simply use page and field configurator, right? We've seen anywhere from 30 to 60% of a customer's customizations can be eliminated using this tool alone.
All right. So another thing I mentioned kind of in my spiel there at the beginning was the PTF testing as a service, right? So testing enabling customers to move away from them being the sole tester. And again, this is actually an area that Randy specializes in. So I'm going to go ahead and let Randy take the PTF and testing as a service slide as well.
Yeah, no problem, Gary. Glad to do it. And I actually would say, grab this deck, or if you know how to go back and look at the agenda from previous days. Tarun yesterday did a presentation on our PTF service. So there's a nice hour-long presentation out there for you to take a look at. I'm going to just touch on it briefly, but this is a service that we provide to our customers, testing as a service. Basically, we put our heads together and said, how do we sell a subscription model of services? And we thought, well, let's sell the things that our customers hate to do, and it takes too long for them to do, and let's do that ourselves. And we will have our customers, instead of doing that repetitive testing activity, their job is to evaluate the results, right? Because you can't get to the results until the test is executed. So what we've done is we've combined the automated testing tool that everybody that has PeopleSoft owns the PTF product. It's a part of your PeopleSoft license. We have a library of pre-built PTF scripts that I guarantee will work in an uncustomized demo environment. It's important to know that they work there, because when we then take them and put them into your environment, we need to morph them from what works in demo to what works in your environment. That might include testing your customizations, maybe navigating slightly differently than we would do in the demo environment, and adding additional custom fields maybe that have been added to the page into our automated scripts. Once we get there, we've got our library of your PTF scripts. We call that the gold library. And that's what we use to help you, as frequently as you want, run the test cycles in testing as a service. So we do that through a tool that we built called the Testing Grounds. And in the Testing Grounds, we can evaluate the test scripts themselves. We can review the gold library. We can get to the tests. And if we have developer access, we can even maintain those scripts. But those that don't can still execute scripts. They can review the execution, the details, the pass-fail ratio, and most importantly, drill down and start to evaluate the output of the tests that have been executed, all the way down to the test evidence reports that show every step that was taken, screenshots of pass or fail. Really, this gives your business analysts and functional users their time back in executing the scripts, and really focuses their effort on evaluating the output and the results. So that's one of our main, I shouldn't say main, that is one of our managed services offerings. It's a component of all of our offerings. We do have some customers that only use SpearMC managed services for the testing grounds and testing as a service. Others are a full suite of services that we provide. So, yep, pretty excited about this. We definitely have seen our clients get a benefit out of removing themselves from the repetitive test action and becoming evaluators and critique versus create. Yeah. Again, point you to the presentation that Tarun did yesterday on this topic for an hour. He's got several slides that demo the process and the product, and hopefully provide the value that you might seek for these kinds of services.
Very good. Thanks, Randy.
Yep.
All right. So another area that, we really try to, help send customers towards is self-help, right? So investing in training and automated self-help. And this comes in, several different flavors, right? So one being the related content and actions. So, providing end users the ability to, maybe this page wasn't geared for this particular need, but you can go somewhere else from there based on what you're seeing, right? So related, I guess that'd be a related action.
Yeah,
then,
and Gary, can I give an example, a real time
go right ahead.
example that happened today with one of our customers? They have a need to be able to see the requesters when they're doing a requisition, or the purchasing agents. They have a need to see their customer number with the vendor, right? And that's a field that is stored. This particular customer uses GHX, so there are a large number of them based on ship to locations. And so a query was created and put as related content right on the PO review pages, so they can immediately see what their customer number is. Because the number one question the vendors ask when called is, what's your customer number? And it wasn't anywhere visible on the pages that they had access to. So create a related content service, click on that query, and with the prompts that were built in the query, the results are displayed right there on the page for you.
Thanks. Great example, Randy.
Yeah, you didn't know I was going to do that today. And
No.
it literally happened 20 minutes before this call.
You got one for related action too?
Sorry, I don't, but I'll tell you that in dashboards, this is a great thing to add, because when you have dashboard information, the best thing you can do is, if there's actionable things that need to come out of that information that you're presenting, if you can present it as a related action right here, it avoids the user from having to click out of this page and take the information they gathered from your analytics, and then open up another window and navigate. It brings them straight to the transaction that they're needing to affect. Think of the collaboration match exception collaboration work center. It's embedded with all kinds of related actions for that specific transaction, so that you don't have to constantly navigate out, retype the parameters, the search parameters, and find that transaction, do whatever that action is asking you to do. So fantastic solution. And it really is the same setup as the related content, except this one will take an action to a particular PeopleSoft component page and allow you to stay within, pop-up modal window, finish that, and you're still in your analytic pages that drove you there.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So next, another opportunity is emerging tech with chatbots. I think a lot of you have seen chatbots in, the various sessions. This is one of those things where you either embrace it. It seems like some people have really embraced it, other ones kind of shy away from it, but it is an opportunity really to, reduce the number of tickets that are being opened that your service team has to support, right? And, we've spent a lot of time over the past 20 minutes or so, right, talking about, oh, these are ways you can reduce support. This is that, right? The title, someone's probably asking, the title of this is, well, what's this have to do with Jira, right? So what we're working towards here is, how do we, reduce the amount of tickets? How do we identify exactly what type of things are we getting issues on, right? So that in our Jira ticketing system, we've gathered information. We've seen, we get so many requests storing open benefits for this or that. So is that an opportunity just to use a chatbot to fill that? Or, on the next slide, is that an opportunity to use Oracle guided learning to help guide people through those processes, right? So all of these using emerging tech, different ways to really reduce the need for support, are opportunities, right? And it simplifies, it really drives down costs. It drives down, makes people available to do other things, because they're not answering things that seem to be repetitive, but for whatever reason, it hasn't resonated with everybody who's actually walking through those activities. So guided learning is another opportunity. This is something really that SpearMC is doing exclusively. It's a newer product from Oracle. It it's the replacement, but it's more than just a replacement, right, Randy? I mean,
I think so, Gary. So to finish the sentence, it's a replacement, you can call it, for UPK. It is a much more modern and robust cross-platform solution that is, yes, it's training, but it's more than that. It's guided processing. It will help you to execute infrequently done transactions, like a life change event in HCM, or maybe I do an expense report once a year and I never remember how. Or maybe you just have upgraded to 860 and you want to have a short time OGL, Oracle Guided Learning, that says, okay, everything's changed. Here's what's new. Let me give you a tour of what's different here and show you how to navigate, show you how to do things. If you don't need it, click out. Otherwise, we won't show you this particular OGL again. These are the kinds of things you can do that UPK just really was not able to perform in a optimal way. We're building our gold library. I think we've got 100 OGLs that we're building so that we can do fast starts for any customer that wants to implement this tool. It's a SaaS solution tool, but it sits and works directly with your Oracle product, whether you're on-premise, hosted by Amazon, hosted by Oracle. It doesn't matter. You connect to your PeopleSoft domain wherever it is, and can work in multiple environments. Multiple being, you'll develop it in a dev environment, apply it to training, but you're also going to have it out in the production world to help your users do their transactions.
Yep.
I would.
Yeah,
like a broken record, but we have a recorded session Cameron did yesterday, competing with my session, and I shuddered to see how many more people he had in his than mine. And then there's a demo that Cameron's doing on this tool tomorrow. So I'd say either catch the recorded session that he did, or tune in for his demo session tomorrow.
Yeah, he also actually just did a blog that was released this week.
That's right. Yeah.
Website. So another great opportunity if you want to learn a little bit more about Oracle Guided Learning. But again, the key here is, reducing the need for, support in whatever way that happens, right? I mean, we talked earlier about testing as a service, not necessarily a direct from a support perspective, but it, lowers the amount of effort required in your upgrades, updates. We're not allowed to say upgrades, right?
Yeah, no, we're not. So yeah, keep the calls to a minimum, right? And be proactive in building these. In fact, you can have an OGL if someone has reported an issue, just a temporary one that says, hey, this issue's been reported. If you do something in this sequence, it's going to cause an error. Make sure you do it A, B, then C. And it can be short-lived until that issue is resolved. So
yeah, and it's it's a new technology, so we're really at this point, we're defining these use cases at this point in time, really, as part of our library, and as we talk to customers, looking at type of things that come up, so I think it's very fluid at this point in time. Not PeopleSoft fluid though.
No pun intended.
Right. All right. So the support structure and system, right? And this, we're starting to move a little bit more towards what the topic was here, Jira, right? So establishing a central platform for issue management, place for communication, protocol and schedule, process for prioritizing work, and knowledge base. And this, is, as we started our managed service organization, we started looking at all these different tools and we selected Jira. I think a lot of tools, work. Some of them are a lot more structured. The ability to get something up and running, for some of them was a much larger effort. And so for us, we felt that Jira really worked because these were the, the key things that we wanted to hit on. And then, coming back to me as being, as I mentioned earlier, reporting and analytics guy, how do I then get the data back out to allow me to take action on, all that data, right? So what visibility do I have to be able to see things in the system? So as I go back, bringing it home to Memorial Hospital down in Gulfport, again, application support, we took over there as a service provider. We're looking to reduce really their support costs per hour. We used the Jira tool. We integrated. So, the way it worked is they have their own internal help desk that we don't have access to. Once they review tickets, their team goes through. If it's something they can't resolve and they, want to, call SpearMC, we're not using the phone. Obviously, we're not sending an email. We're actually passing the ticket from one system into ours, and it's generating a ticket, and then we get all the details and we capture everything in Jira over there. And we've really been able to take data in here then and then drive other decisions that go back to, okay, just like we mentioned, whether it was some page and field configurator events, we might look and see, hey, there's a lot of issues that come up, and every time this comes up, we're noticing that, oh, apply a bug, apply a fix, apply this. Well, you take all that and you say, well, it's time for us to really look at, doing our next PUM upgrade, because, over the past 2 months, we may have ran into, a third of the number of issues that we did if we had just started this, right? And that just keeps growing each month, right? So different ways to capture that information. This kind of leads right onto that, right? Leveraging data. So the data that's in there allows us to build these, strategic roadmaps, reduction in the number of recurring issues. It allows us to, get a view for everything that's open, maybe what's closed, in just different ways, right? People want to see stuff, whether it's this pie chart in here, right? Like, here, I can have to look, okay, blue, that's HCM payroll. Over here, I can see, oh yeah, a lot of issues in HCM, not so much in, well, it looks like GL, we've had the majority of our issues, right? If I use this visual, it's just a lot of different ways for us to quickly use the tool that we're using to capture and, manage our workload to then drive these strategic decisions. So, we take all this information, and then as we start to build out this roadmap, okay, well, we see right now we've got, during this time, we've got a grants project going, we've got PTF setup, we've got TAS updates, right? So all of these things that we've talked about, where do they fit in the overall plan? And then now that we have all these challenges, where can we address them? Do we have a window here to do an upgrade? Do we have a window to, why do we need to do an upgrade? Someone says, well, you guys, we don't want to do an upgrade this year. We think we should wait. And then we immediately come back and say, well, technically you should, and this is why, right? Boom, boom, boom. And we can easily show that based on all the information. So over time, through our process of configuring Jira, setting up that system, we've added additional fields, different ways, so that it's just like, rather than it being your ERP system, it's been a way for us to get additional information into Jira. So it allows us to, make data-driven decisions. So, I would say, you want to find a partner in this process that, is a leader in the PeopleSoft community, whether you're going, whatever you're supporting, right? But in this case, we're specifically referring to PeopleSoft. As I mentioned, having ties with Oracle's leadership team, support development, right? All those things enable your partner from a managed services perspective to get kind of additional support that you may or may not have received based on, just standard, right? Because sometimes, I can maybe send an email as an example, right? If you have somebody that has those inner ties rather than going to a full channel. Leverage all that PeopleSoft has to offer, right? So again, we're not saying PeopleSoft is the only solution out there, but what it is, we have an understanding of when PeopleSoft is the right solution, and we will tell you, hey, maybe this case isn't, the appropriate solution for you in this example. Obviously, not looking to just implement needless customizations, and honestly getting away from those and using some of the tools so that you streamline your process. Latest industry best practices. You saw the roadmap and how we're actually using that roadmap, how we're getting, it's not just a roadmap. Hey, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. Let's actually take a look at why we built that roadmap, and we have, the data behind that to address some of those issues. At the bottom, there's obviously a lot of different products and services that you want to look for when you are selecting a partner in this space as well. Randy, anything you want to add on the partner side, or this kind of ties right into the whole managed services discussion?
Yeah, just that I highlighted testing as a service, and I kind of maybe belabored that point, but it's just one of the suite of services that we can offer, and they're a la carte, or they can be combined, right? And we're really excited about our managed services offerings, because it is a fast growing business solution that we have. And I think it's partly because we have a lot of clients out there whose internal support team is either, I think you touched on this earlier, Gary, being asked to focus on maybe looking at a new product someday, or they're retiring and looking for support and finding it hard to find local talent that is a detailed PeopleSoft expert. So we're getting a lot of inquiries in this particular line of service that we have. We call it product lines of SpearMC.
Yeah, I think the infrastructure, follows sort of that same path, right? Yeah, people that, you could even view, cloud infrastructure hosting as, your first foray into that's the right word, into, cloud services, right? Well, it's not software as a service, it's more, platform. But at the end of the day, instead of having to upgrade all your on-prem servers, maybe it's the opportunity to start looking at, cloud infrastructure. And obviously we are done a ton of work in the OCI space, but we've also, we're supporting several customers on Azure, AWS, right? So having that knowledge, having that team that can not only support, the PeopleSoft on Oracle, but if you are, and often a customer already has maybe some account in one of those, and they want to say, okay, let's move PeopleSoft over to there. And for them, it makes more sense, even though OCI may be, more cost effective, it makes more sense to stick with one platform, and that's okay. I mean, but we do work through that as well. And so, yeah, I think the whole thing is, right, how do you take what you're doing, stay current, keep your system up to date, and then, minimize the amount of support needed, as much as possible, different ways to do that. So that's, our presentation on the topic. I don't know if anyone has any questions. Randy and our contact information is there. Again, we're happy to take any questions right now, or feel free to reach out to us outside of
back, Gary, I will boldly say, if you want to type a question in the chat, go ahead, but we're willing to just have you take yourself off mute and ask you a question.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're given that opportunity in the Zoom platform. So if anybody has any questions, feel free. We'll take them. We have a shy group. You can also use the chat. I have both chat windows open in my other screen if you're shy about hearing your voice.
All right, well,
I'm hearing no
Questions
questions.
about our services. It could be, related to the technologies that we shown, things that we had up there, right? So
No question will be left unanswered, let me tell you. Oh, let's see. Thank you for joining. Okay, so we are now saying, go ahead and get the evaluation ready. Do your evaluation, and I think we may be done. I am not seeing any questions in the chat, and folks are okay. Yep, there it is. There's the link to the evaluation session 100630.
great. Well, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, have a great day.
Yeah, look forward to talking to you in the future.